Let's begin part 2. With regards to gender, the church taught that God created Adam and Eve. They were exiled from the beautiful Garden of Eden because they disobeyed God. Specifically, Eve was tricked by an evil snake, in brackets, who symbolically represented the devil, close bracket, into disobeying God, and Eve convinced Adam to do what the snake told them. In other words, women introduced sin into the world. As a consequence, women are required to be submissive beings who are not allowed to make decisions without their husband's input. Also, another result of Adam and Eve's disobedience was that men and women had to be clothed at all times. In essence, nudity is a sin, and sex outside of marriage is a sin. Furthermore, marriage occurred only between a man and a woman. Primarily, sex was used for reproductive purposes, and sex was regulated and controlled by the church. Religiosity ruled. Furthermore, the church was the agent and the management of information about gender and sexual development. Source: Coates and Wade, 2007. Arnold Samaroff's, that's the source, no date, transactional model of church leaders and congregations fits within an institution's approach of political, spiritual, social, and economic control. Equally, it is a source of power. It is noted that 3 foundations of human development are to live a healthy and creative life, to be knowledgeable, and to have access to resources needed for a decent standard of living. That's the reference for that is HDRO Outreach 2015. The reality explicitly evident throughout the Jamaican experience as it relates to gender and sexuality is that the country has not created the right condition for human development, namely equality, choice, and individual expression. The richness and expansion of human life remains static and explicitly devalued. Contemporary Jamaica is explicitly homophobic, and often both Christian and Rastafarian congregations are the leading force behind this attitude. Namely, religious groups regularly protest against gay rights, saying that homosexuality is an affront to God and to Jamaican values. Source: Quinn, 2013. Overt acts of social, psychological, and spiritual violence and bias-related injustice are perpetuated. In addition, despite the fact that Jamaica is a vacation destination for many, those whom are assumed to be outside of the dominant discourse of the heteronormative union of male and female are punished and in some cases killed. The source for that again is Quinn 2013. I told some personal stories in my paper, but I'll skip those. In addition to my own experiences in Jamaica, my Caucasian husband who observed graffiti that was homophobic. Yes. The purpose of our visit to Jamaica was to show him where I grew up and to introduce him to my family and Jamaican culture in general. While visiting the public restrooms at a popular tourist destination near Ocho Rios, he saw graffiti messages such as "Batty boy for dead," which means that homosexuals should be put to death. Such statements can also be heard regularly in songs played on Jamaican radio stations, typically in popular dancehall music written by artists such as Buju Banton, Bounty Killer, Elephant Man, and T.O.K. Both the tourist site and the dancehall music are representations of Jamaican culture. For my husband, it was evident that both depicted overt violence and a strong rejection of homosexuality. The source for that is Helber, Helber 2014. A discussion of the awareness of gender and sexual development within the Jamaican context is incomplete without addressing the impact of colonialism on African and Caribbean culture. The history of Africans who were enslaved and savagely brutalized by European colonial empires is well documented. And this you can find in sources such as Ron 2011, Shackle 1999, etc. The nations of Britain and Spain fought for dominance of Jamaica. With these European colonies came religious beliefs and practices. Specifically, the British and Spanish colonial systems forced Christian religious beliefs and practices upon the lives of the African Jamaican people. The dominant doctrines of Christianity are primarily the message of personal salvation. Second, the salvation of God's chosen people. This means originally these chosen people were represented by the ancient Israelites. And third, that these chosen people, who in contemporary society have expanded beyond the Israelites, they include all Christians, must follow the teachings of Jesus Christ. End of part 2.